make sure you hit record and we'll get going. Perfect. So today's goals, want to meet meet GSLI and our team, learn a little bit more about us, a quick overview of the project so you can quickly determine how this project applies to you and your community. And then we'll bring Rick online with Project Pack USA, and we'll do a Q&A with him with some submitted questions that have been submitted. And we'll be taking questions and answers there at the end and making sure all of those are answered by everybody. You might be asking, should you be here? We do have a variety of people here. First of all, it's our community and clients. We've built a network around the nation of communities that we know near and dear, and they are here to find out and submit on the project to see if there's a good alignment and give their community an opportunity to win the project. We have some trial communities. We have communities that have been looking at becoming a part of our network nationwide and considering in their states, but because we are exclusive on a state-by-state basis, it's a good partnership, learning about the communities and making sure there's a good alignment with what they can do for the projects. So they're here listening. We also have some observing companies and site locators. Always excited about that. This helps other companies realize the power of this tool and what we can do for them in their site location process. A lot of our projects have come that from just sitting here and listening and learning from what we do. And then we also have just observing communities, several clients, several communities that this project might not be aligned with, but just to learn what's the tipping points and what motivates a project. What are they looking for in submissions? And as you'll learn in this project, just because a project recently announced doesn't mean there's future growth. So great opportunity to identify future growth with companies. Some housekeeping items. I want to make sure everybody is muted at this point. If you see over on the right hand side, there is a Q&A box. That's where I'd like everybody to ask their questions. They'll pop up in a queue for me to make sure that they're answered. There is the ability to raise a hand if I think you have too complicated of a question or that needs to go a little bit deeper. I'll bring you online and ask you to raise your hand. That'll help me quickly identify who you are. We are recording. So we record all of these GSLIs. We use those throughout the site location process. When communities are asking questions, we always defer back to this original recording to allow them to really learn in depth about the needs that they're and get the answers that they're looking for. If you need information, Brooke, if you could, in the chat box, go ahead and put the link. You can easily connect with us. If you're a company that would like to learn more information, how we can host one of these for you, or if you're a community that wants to learn more about being involved with us and submitting on the projects, we'd be more than glad to connect with you. So meeting some of our team. My name is Eric Kleinsorge. I'm the chairman and CEO of Global Site Location Industries. A lot of communities know us as World Economic Development Alliance. 25 years ago, coming up on 26, I founded the company with one purpose: to put expanding or relocating companies in touch with communities that could assist them. And at the end of the day, my entire team and myself live on one thing. It's about job creation. If we're able to create one more job and that person is making an economic impact on a community, we feel that we fulfilled our mission. So that's been the driving factor behind our company from day one. Whether or not we're investing in a magazine or we're doing websites for communities, whatever we do, the final intent is to drive and create jobs in their communities. We also have Ashley Kleinsorge on here today. She's our project and research coordinator. Ashley is my daughter. I'm excited to have her on the team. Feels like she's been with me my whole life, and nobody better that can work on the programming and the communications and engaging with the prospects. So we're excited to have her on board. And we have actually, it's not Dirk. That is our last Project Live event. we have Rick, and he's with Project Pac USA. So we're excited to have Rick on board. And Rick, I see your videos working great, so thank you. About GSLI, I kind of went about that. Again, formerly World Economic Development Alliance. We are an exclusive network of communities that invest in a program to go out and assist these companies at no charge. So our job is to help provide them with the assistance of finding their sites. They have to meet minimum requirements for us to assist with them. But in that process, we go out and find the leads, and projects in the communities are our field offices that help work with the projects and help them locate their sites. Communities in the network are do have the ability to do unlimited submissions to the projects, and that's where we've been finding some exciting new homes for projects that they never would have thought of before. But through the power of education and learning about each other, there's been some good relationships formed and projects landed through that. Guest communities, if you're on here and you're not a part of our network, we do invite you to submit if it's a good alignment. We always put the project first in terms of what their needs are, and we do allow everyone to at least submit on one project to get to learn our whole process. Our history, as you see there, we've been busy. We've done over 2,125 projects, 53,000 plus jobs, 6.3 billion in economic investment, and 2.1 or 31.8 million of total square feet that our projects have secured over the history of the company. So active projects, Rick's project, and all of our other projects are in our project portal. The web address is right here, www.gslиprojectportal.com. We welcome everybody to go in and take a look at which projects we have live. We work over 100 projects per year, and that is kind of our central backbone of communication between the project and the communities. So we encourage everybody to take a look at that and see if there's some good alignments, not just Project USA, but PAC USA, but other projects. So Project Insight, this is, we always like to use the first part of this to help the communities understand how we identified a project and how we develop the relationship, and hopefully that'll give them some tipping points or some educational points of how they can apply some of those techniques or sources within their own departments and be very effective in their own prospecting efforts. I'd like to bring Ashley on. Ashley, are you on?
I am.
Awesome. So why don't you talk a little bit about how we came in touch with Rick, how you identified the project, the work that it took to get involved with them, and go from there.
Okay, so my name's Ashley Kleinsorge. Like you said, I've been with GSLI for 8 months now. But for those of you that know, our GSLI research team uses 7 different lead pillars for capturing intel and identifying projects that will create the jobs. So my first introduction to this project was through browsing on the internet and coming across an article.
Ashley, you've went on mute.
Oh, can you hear me now?
Now we can.
Okay, which part did y'all hear? Or did you hear nothing?
We heard up into the 7 pillars.
Okay, so yeah, we use those to capture intel and identify projects that will create the jobs. So the way I found this project was through browsing on the internet, came across an article that they had expanded their operations into North Carolina recently. So I thought I might as well reach out and see if they had plans to expand even further. That's when I sent Rick, who is the CEO of the company, on LinkedIn. He identified that the company had future expansion plans in southern Texas and western parts of the United States. So I lined up a phone call with Rick and our CEO, Eric, so they could discuss which ways that we could be of service to him. I really do want to thank Rick, though, for being so welcoming to a conversation with us and providing us all the information necessary that we needed for this project. He was super quick with responding, easy to get in contact with, made our lives easier just by doing that. We don't always get projects that are this easy to communicate with, so it's really been a pleasure for us. We always like to educate our listeners on how we identify projects, and we have 7 avenues or pillars, as we call it, of lead generation strategies to identify these projects. There are email marketing campaigns, exhibiting at trade shows, internet research, telemarketing, utilizing our media publication, which is Global Trade Magazine, and community referral leads. I found this one specifically through just internet research. These strategies really help us identify growing companies to assist with site selection efforts, which also gives our Alliance members an opportunity to submit sites to us that we will put in front of companies to consider. But all in all, we've really loved helping Rick progress on his goals for this facility, so we really look forward to what opportunities exist for his new location.
Awesome, thank you. So kind of a takeaway point on that, and I've identified this over the past 25 years. If we are working with, or we identify that a company has recently expanded, obviously we love to reach out and congratulate them on their expansion, but dive in. And typically I've found that projects either come in 2s or 3s. And we're working with 3 projects right now, that this is the first project and it's going to lead to a secondary project or a third, especially whenever it's coming to distribution and logistics. So I think that's a great takeaway from this, and hopefully you guys can use that a little bit in your searches for projects for your community.
Yeah, you never really know, so it doesn't hurt to reach out.
Yeah, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
So let's talk about, give a quick overview of the project. So Rick's project, we have projections of 80 jobs in year 1, year 2, 240 jobs, going to 300 jobs in year 3. So nice, really nice progression there, Rick, in terms of growth. Size requirements. Rick and I talked yesterday, and he shared with me that he toured their latest facility, and it's about 158,000 square feet of what they did, and he quickly realized that they're going to need somewhere around 200,000 to handle the kind of growth and needs out of this facility. So we've settled right now at 200,000. If anybody's worked with us on Project All Boxed Up, that's went from 350 to 650 to 750 back to 500, and we're probably selling at about 500. So size requirements could vary depending on buildings and available properties that they locate. Building type, Rick is open to both a build-to-suit and a greenfield site. It's just finding the right match for him. Time frame is 12 months. So if we did, Rick shared with me yesterday, if we did go with a build-to-suit, we need to have exact time frames whenever his building could be up. And I know a couple of months back, it was a little troublesome with COVID of trying to get things happening and coordinating teams and getting projects started. I haven't seen that. I've seen that cleared up over the last couple of months. But a definite consideration, if you're going to present a greenfield site, you want to kind of combine that in with the timing that you feel your community could help him put that building in. So with that said, we're going to go straight into the questions that we've submitted, and now's the time to kind of start thinking about questions you have about from Rick, and go ahead and put those in the Q&A, and we'll get those queued up and start answering as soon as we get those. When you do, I'm going to go back to that slide. When you do submit a question, please put your name and location. That way I can introduce where you are coming from, and that gives Rick a good idea of who he's talking with and answering the question for. So Rick, I want to welcome you today to the program. We're excited to have you here. How's it going there?
It's going well. Thank you, Eric.
Awesome. Yeah, I really enjoyed talking with you yesterday. and giving me the insight in our first conversation, learning about your project. It's really exciting. I think the biggest thing there is the stability of your company and the growth that you're seeing for communities. And that's a good staple for them to understand. But anyone that's going to come in and ultimately create 300 jobs in the community is making a major impact on the community. So I kind of want to start off with the questions. Um, Give us a little background on your company. Tell us, let's let the listeners understand exactly what you do.
Okay. Well, first of all, I'd like to thank Eric and Ashley for putting this together. I really appreciate it. I appreciate everything you've done so far. Again, my name's Rick Geiger. I'm the CEO of the company. Our company is a contract packaging company, which means we package other people's products. We don't have any of our own products. We package our other customers. We have customers that are startups to Fortune 100 companies. The products that you would find that we produce or repackage or package are found in hardware stores, grocery stores, Walmarts, every store around. We do food, human consumables, and we also do chemicals. We have 2 divisions. So we are well diverse in the industry. We do a lot of blending of liquids and powders and then repackaging them into flexible packages and rigid packaging. So it's everywhere from a bag of chips to a quart of paint. We do things that are from 1 gram up to 275-gallon totes. So it's a wide variety of products that we have. The company's been around for 40 years. And we've experienced a tremendous amount of growth in the last 4 to 5 years, and which is causing us to expand.
That's awesome. So in terms of that, one thing that the communities really like to know in terms of what's kind of the motivation? What's got you motivated? I was excited to hear about your recent expansion and facility. What's the motivation for this facility? Is it customer base? Is it logistics? What's going to be a good factor and motivation in this one?
The future expansion is based off of customer demands. We have customers that have production facilities all across the United States. Projects that they would rather not ship the material up for us to repackage, and they would like us located somewhere near their production facilities for transportation. So location is key in that sense, and it is for us. We're also limited by the amount of people we can get in the space we have. So we've expanded in our current location to 3 production facilities, totaling over 500,000 square feet. The labor market is before COVID was very low, 1.9% unemployment. So we're looking to get into different markets or different areas where we can tap into an additional labor market. So there are a number of deciding factors for us: location, labor market, and the climate.
That's great. Yeah, I attended IEDC, and the communities themselves also were struggling with that, with the labor market and everything. And it seems like that's becoming more available. And I've been really blessed to be able to present some great areas, especially on the workforce side. So that's great. So do you have any other expansions? I mean, any other facilities throughout the U.S. Other than your North Carolina facility?
We also have 3 production facilities in the Midwest.
Okay.
So we have 3 of them located in Wisconsin right now.
Awesome. So kind of playing off of what I said, this is an expansion off of your one expansion. Is there any 5-year plans down the road of continuing to grow beyond this latest one, or is this kind of a stopping point for a while?
No, this is just the next step. the next expansion would be on the West Coast, somewhere on the West Coast. So we're currently looking in the Nevada, Arizona area right now for a West Coast production facility, if you will. So,
Okay. So we'd almost consider you two leads here. One down south around in the Texas area. Is that correct? And then
correct.
out west. Awesome.
Correct.
Okay. Can you talk about the details? If people are listening, a lot of them have spec buildings. They have available assets in their communities. What if you found the perfect building? Could you kind of give a picture, paint a picture? How many docks, that type of stuff?
Okay, great. Perfect building would be around 200,000 square feet. 18 docks would be ideal. We can handle less or more. The type of building, again, if it's an existing building, we're very flexible on it. We prefer a cleaner building than maybe a heavily used chemical building, because there will be some sort of food manufacturing in it. Or we're even interested in two separate buildings. We can also, that's what we do in Wisconsin, is we separate our food from our chemicals in two different buildings. But in North Carolina, where we will be producing in the same building, both food and chemicals. So we'd like at least 15 to 20 clear height in the buildings. We do use a lot of water, so that's one of our deciding factors. So there'd be a tremendous amount of water usage in there. Clean, good water is always a plus. So
In terms of that, yeah, in terms of that on the building itself, are there any special electrical requirements? You talked about the water. You might want to talk a little bit about water discharge. What type of discharge is there? And if you have any gas special requirements.
Sure. Electrical is there's no huge demand of electrical demand there. So normal, whatever normal would be in a building that size. No real gas requirements. As far as water discharge goes, we have developed a water treatment system that we put into our plants. So we treat and try to reuse the water that would be used for cleaning up. We probably, if I were to round up or guess, about 1 million gallons of water a year that we'll pull in, but very little will go back out. So we package it and ship that water out. So in various forms of products that you will find out in the marketplace. So again, we try to, we have developed a green system of treating our water and reusing our rinse water. So, and then we create, what we don't use, we create into solids that usually go into the waste.
Okay. Do you have an estimate on the water usage at one of your typical plants on a monthly or annual basis?
On an annual basis, one of the plants, the heaviest one we have in Wisconsin, we use about 1.5 million gallons of water.
Okay.
A year, annual. So.
Okay. So going about the actual site itself, talking about locating a customer-driven location, which part of the logistics equation is most important to you? Is it rail, highway, air? What's an ideal logistics infrastructure for you?
Ideally, a highway. Easy on, easy off access to interstates is ideal for us. Rail is somewhat important. It's not important. We would utilize it if it was there, but none of our facilities have rail right now. But all of them are within 4 miles of an interstate.
Okay. Okay, great. So we've talked about the existing building. In the totem pole, we also talked about the potential of a build-to-suit. Your biggest preference is an existing building, correct? And then if there's the right build-to-suit and they could get it done on a timely basis, that's still an option?
Yes, build-to-suit is still an option. It might push off our expansion plans, but if the right opportunity were to present itself, we are willing to increase our capital investment and increase our time for expansion.
Okay. What's the, we talked about this a little bit yesterday, but what's the end time? Like when, if you went to build a suit, 14 months, 16 months, you'd want to have that thing up and ready and going?
18 months, 18 months.
Okay. We talked about the workforce in terms of an educated workforce. Have you found in any of your existing facilities the desire to be around some colleges or universities, or talk about your sustainable workforce that you're looking for?
Yes, I've been fortunate to be in all of our facilities, even in North Carolina, to be very close to colleges, community colleges, where they have an emphasis on the trades, and they have a great educational program for turning out mechanical, electrical engineers, mechanics, those type of thing, those type of CNC operators, machinists. So that's very important to us. That is an ideal situation. Again, we've been fortunate to have that close to all of our plants right now.
Awesome. So in terms of that workforce, kind of paint a picture of the salaries, the types of employees. Out of that, we'll go on the high end of your maxed out facility of 300 employees. What's the breakdown of types of employees, and maybe a rough estimate on payrolls you anticipate depending on the market?
Well, depending on the market, we found that there's a big difference between North Carolina and Wisconsin in pay scales. But ideally, I would say our average hourly employee is making around $20 to $22 an hour. Our average salaried employee is probably somewhere between $60,000 and $80,000.
Okay. How many of those salaried employees are you needing in a facility like this?
30.
30. Okay. So the balance would be the other types of employees.
Correct.
I think you kind of answered this a little bit, but in terms of your customer base, one thing that communities also can do is find if there's some other clusters that are potential customers for you. Talk about the types of customers you're serving.
We're serving customers, again, you would find them in every department store or hardware store or retail outlet. We also have commercial customers that you would never know who they were, but anybody that is packaging anything, we service them. So, and everybody packages something, or I shouldn't say everybody, but anybody that's out on the retail market, it has to have a package, except for bananas and apples. They're about the only things that don't have packaging. So.
Okay, great. So in terms of your site right now, some communities, would you say they would be working directly with us and you, or do you have also a commercial broker or someone that you work with and have a relationship with in finding your sites?
The former. I do not have a commercial broker
Okay.
that we're working with. So.
Okay. And in terms of incentives and subsidies, I know you talked about some of the trials and tribulations you experienced in North Carolina, and it ended up working out all right for you. How important, what type of incentives make an impact on your business that might have, be a tipping point from a community?
As far as incentives go, there's always the tax credits, the subsidies, the employment credits for hiring, whatever package that the community, I've seen several different ones. I just want to see what the best possible incentive and subsidy package there would be out there. Again, like you had mentioned, we're bringing a substantial capital investment and hiring 80 to 300 direct jobs which I know translates to a lot of indirect jobs off of those. So I think that our organization is a desirable organization to have in a community. We're very community orientated. Also, we want to give back to the community too. So we're really looking for when I say climate, I mean a business climate, somebody that wants to partner with our organization.
Yeah, and I really appreciated that yesterday in talking. I could tell you really had a a desire to partner with communities and be involved in the community, not just come in and do your product and take advantage of the community. So we all appreciate that. So thank you very much. So my last question, and we've got about 4 or 5 questions that have lined up. What if you put your finger on one tipping point, one location over the other? Is there anything that stands out to you that would go, that's my choice?
That's a great question. Any one thing.
Could it be the access to markets? Could it be, the right price on a building? What have you seen in some of yours that might help you? I bring this up because I've worked with some clients that they were doing it for totally different motivations.
Sure.
They wanted to be in a certain part, or they wanted to give back to their local community. So there really wasn't any tipping point there. The project was going to happen. So I didn't know if, access to market, being right on a highway, the perfect logistics center, the perfect building, if one of those really stood out to you.
Well, those all stand out. If I had to pick one thing, we're looking for a stable community. So we're not looking we're not looking at 1 year or 5 years. We're looking 10 years. We're envisioning the future. So we want, in this climate, we really want a stable community, a community that has a stable track record of business orientated, and will be that way. I mean, you can't, nobody has a crystal ball. So, but it's something that would prove to us that we're going to be welcome there for the long term, that it won't be, we're going to get you in here and things are going to change. So everything else, location, price, those are all deciding factors, but we also want to do some research in our community and make sure that it is a good fit for not only for us, but for them. And then it'll be a long-term commitment. I've seen the climate of a city or a county change, and they welcome us in and then change 5 years down the road. So
right. Okay, great. So let's transition over to the Q&A. We can go into some questions. Kim, if you want to raise your hand, I can either bring you on live, or I can go ahead and ask your question. I'll go ahead and ask your question unless I see you raise your hand. It's an easy question. Kim Little's from Coleman, Texas. And she's asking, how far north are you willing to look in the state of Texas? And would you consider a community in Central Texas that's located in an opportunity zone?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
There's really no place we wouldn't look in Texas. So, and even in surrounding states around Texas, there's I do know that there is one of our customers is in one of the suburbs of Dallas, Texas. So
okay.
Not far away from there would be ideal.
Okay.
We'll look at anything.
So that's bringing a secondary question from Larkin Smith. He's in East Central Louisiana, and he's just talking about would Louisiana be outside of a distribution reach, or I guess expand on that? Would it be able to service that one and grow your client base as we experienced with another project?
Yes, absolutely. That would not be outside of our scope of where we'd look. There is as far as where we're looking, we have a large customer outside of Dallas and a very large one in Memphis, Tennessee. So there could be anywhere around there that we're just looking really for south. I mean, we identified Texas, but we're really looking at someplace south, middle south, not eastern south.
Okay, awesome. That's great. So this is just from Susan in Tucson. We've kind of answered that, but just kind of building on, would you prefer, do you want to own their building, or do you prefer to lease? And might ask on this, this is from Susan in Tucson, Arizona, but I might expand on that a little bit. If somebody did a build to suit for you, would you consider, or would a lease buyback be advantageous for you to take a
Yes,
look
absolutely. We'd entertain that. That's a great question and a great option for us too. So obviously, depending on the lease rate and everything. So it's certainly an option. We'd look at any option like that.
Okay, great. We've got Paul Sedania from Tulare, California. Hey, Paul. Let me read your question. How important is it? Okay, how important is it to have other similar companies that manufacture packaging material and equipment nearby? Is that advantageous to you to have a cluster of companies like that, that are building a large workforce in that industry, or how do you feel about that?
Yes, it's again another great question. Yes, it's advantageous for us to have bottle manufacturers, film manufacturers, corrugated manufacturers close by. Those things are certainly advantageous. There are a lot of those in our current locations in Wisconsin, but we're also competing with the workforce for those locations. So there's some pros and there's some cons on that. So
Okay, great. Yeah, I'll talk offline with you. We have another project that is a corrugated box manufacturer that we're doing. Might be a opportunity to partner with them and talk with them. That's kind of neat to see how these things happen.
sure.
So I've got Colton Tierlink. He's in Mesquite, Nevada. And you mentioned after this expansion, that your next expansion would be in either Nevada or Arizona. If
Right.
Mesquite, Nevada puts up free land on Interstate 15, would that be an attractive for a build to suit?
That would definitely be attractive. Definitely. Mesquite, Nevada is a beautiful location, beautiful part of the United States. Absolutely.
Okay, great. That is all the questions I have. If anyone else has questions, go ahead and fire those in there. Greg, I think you did a wonderful. Rick, I think you did a wonderful job in terms of answering, most of the questions, and I think this will also help save us a lot of time as other communities to reach out to us. We really appreciate everybody joining us today. This is an example of a lead in our portal, and we will be sending a post Project Live webinar email out thanking you guys for attending today with any links to making your submission to the portal. We are the best place to start is the portal itself. So go into the portal. If you're an active part of our alliance, make your submission. If you're not, claim the project as one you want to work. Let us know. We'll coordinate you with one of our coaches to help strategize and get your information into Rick's hands and make it a pleasant process for both sides. I guess I want you to kind of expand on this a little bit, Rick. When is your goal to start making site visits? When do you want your feet on the ground taking a look at some sites?
I would say probably November, late November, early December of this year.
Okay, awesome. So we'll kind of base everything on that time frame, do a lot of Google Earth type searches and things like that, and start gathering the packets, and we'll set that as a time frame for you, for communities to start thinking about bringing you in. I'm going to put up our project, our contact information. Again, I'm Eric Kleinsorge, Chairman, CEO. My email, eric@gslisolutions.com. You can always reach me on the landline, which is 469-778-2606. I'm extension 2. Ashley, if you have any questions about just not this project, but other projects that we are engaged with, you can reach out to her. She's our project and research coordinator. Ashley at GSLIsolutions.com. Same phone number, 469-778-2606, extension 2. And I welcome everybody to go to our website, www.gsliprojectportal.com. There is a side URL. It's attractmorejobs.com. So www.attractmorejobs.com. And we'd love to have you guys communicate with us and reach out to us at any time. So with that said, I want to thank everybody for joining us today. That will conclude our Prospect Live event. Rick, I know you are a tremendously busy individual. I want to thank you for all the time you've given to our team and learning about your project. We are here to help you be successful in your expansion and selection of a new site. And we are always excited whenever somebody's creating even 10 jobs. But when you hear about 300 jobs, really want to thank you for being a steward of a great company and wishing you and going to help you in successfully locating your next site. To all of the communities, I know you have busy days also. I want to thank you for taking the time today to listen. We will make the recording available in 48 hours along with a transcript of the recording, so you can kind of go through and highlight any of the key points that you need in developing your submissions for Rick. And just thank you for taking your time and joining us today. With that said, I want to say goodbye until our next Project Live event. Keep an eye out for your emails for notices of when that one's going to happen. And goodbye from Dallas. Thank you.
Thank you, Eric.